Well, making his CFL debut tonight, his first start, that is, the BC Lions turn to Caden Salter at QB, hoping he can spark their offense. The 23-year-old Texas native signed with the Lions in May. He's appeared in 6 games tonight, his biggest test. And this man would like to see a lot of him. Willie Jefferson just turning back the clock. The 35-year-old already with 5 sacks on the season, on pace for 13. If he does hit it, that would be a career high. Hello, Canada. Welcome to Thursday Night Football on TSN. Caperness alongside Paul Police, Dave Naylor, Milt Siegel, as we get you set for the BC Lions taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the chat has to be surrounding these QBs tonight, particularly Salter. And we were chatting in pregame of how much we saw him in college, how exciting and explosive he can be. But Lapo, what are you expecting from this kid tonight?
Well, I'm expecting, obviously, athletic ability, big, strong arm. I'm expecting a small package by the BC Lions. If I was them, I'd go out and do no-huddle plays. Why? Because you don't have that many plays of no-huddle. Don't overload him with too many plays. Call the things that they've seen from him that he can be successful at. Get some run game going with his legs to create a couple of first downs so he doesn't have to throw for a few first downs. I would try to put him in some positions of keeping this crowd out of it by a little bit of no huddle or something like that.
Yeah, I think they got to keep it simple, and he's got to keep negative plays out of the way. You know, he is a guy who has had some turnover issues in his college career. Going into Winnipeg in front of that full house for your first CFL start would intimidate a lot of players, but I'm led to believe this is a guy who has ice in his veins when it comes to the big stage. He'll be fine with that.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. And another player who I think will be fine today is Brady Oliveira. And, you know, we had a situation this week where Brady Oliveira somewhat called out, you know, the scheme that was being ran on his offensive coordinator. It made me think back to a situation, and I won't say what team I was with, who the player was, what organization, but there was a player, he was a star receiver, and he didn't get the passes he was expected to get that game, and the offensive coordinator called down to him, and he said something to the offensive coordinator, hung up on him, and gave him the peace sign minus 1 finger, if you know where I'm going.
Yes.
And that receiver that next game had, no, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
Never.
No, the peace sign minus 1 finger, no.
Never.
No way.
That receiver the next game had like 10 catches for 200 yards. So look for Brady Oliveira to have about 30 catches for 30 rushes for 150 yards. He's going to get his opportunities, I promise.
They are facing the best run defense.
He's going to get his opportunities, I promise you, Coach.
He will. He should.
I promise.
He's a great player. Get him the ball.
Hey, so you think I'm giving folks the fingers now?
You better not.
No.
You would not dare to give Lapo the finger in 02 and 03.
Here we are, so we're never gonna stop. We got the green light, don't let me go. Here we are, and even when we reach the top, we gonna keep going till everybody knows who we are. We ain't standing on the sideline. We in the game trying to make it to the top. We in the game trying to take it. Yes, we are, and that's the shame you've been waiting for. Here we are.
Eldrick Peterson of Kamloops, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is returned for touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns, you could win $1 million. Good luck, Eldrick. Let's get you to Winnipeg. It's Farhan Lalji and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you very much, Kate. They expected thunder showers in Winnipeg today, but they got all that out of the way last night. It is a beautiful night for football, another big crowd. The Bombers were an 800 football team at home in this stadium coming into the year. They are 1-3 at home this season. They'll try to change that, and they'll do it against the young quarterback, Dwayne. Lions head coach Buck Pierce for the 2nd straight week as a quarterback making his first start in the CFL.
Yeah, a week ago, Chase Bryce. This week, it's Caden Salter with all of about 6 minutes of Canadian Football League experience. He mopped up last week. Seemed to provide enough of a spark to earn a longer audition here today. He's had a week to prep. We'll see how he does against the likes of Willie Jefferson in that Bombers defensive front as Salter makes his first career start. Willie Jefferson in the 160s as far as career games in the Canadian Football League.
Mike O'Shea, meanwhile, was asked this week about giving up 52 points in a home loss last week and how that was addressed this week. He said, well, you don't like it. Does it leave a bad taste in your mouth? Maybe. We're about to find out. Buck Pierce, meanwhile, has yet to win a game against his former team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He loves coming here. He would love to leave with a victory. Meanwhile, the Lions will choose to receive to get things started. It is Jaden Williams, deep Sergio Castillo with the kick, and we are underway in Winnipeg. Williams takes it at his own 12. Crosses the 20, looks for some room, brought down very early, and the Lions will start their first possession from their own 27-yard line.
Well, much has been said about the rookie Caden Salter making his first career Canadian Football League start. Saw his first game action last week, coming on in the fourth quarter of that ball game. Obviously a very small sample size and under unique circumstances. The Lions playing down by a couple scores, a Toronto defense that may not have been quite as aggressive as what you're going to see from the Bombers out of the gate here tonight.
Salter, meanwhile, is not the only change in the BC offense. We'll get to all the details, but he gives it to another newcomer, Imani Bailey, with the first carry of the game. Picks up 1, maybe 2 yards on his first CFL touch.
And some juggling on that offensive line as well. Josh Donovan injured early last week, as was Brandon Yates on the offensive line. Tyron Walker-Hunt starts at right tackle this week. You mentioned change in the backfield. We'll see Horvath and Bailey sharing that spot. But Justin McInnes was a guy with whom Caden Salter seemed to have some chemistry in that fourth quarter last week. Those two hooked up 5 times.
Lions were committed to the run on first down last week. They did it again here, which leads to second and long. A check down, that is Nick Senecal in the middle of the field. He is close to a first down, but probably 1, maybe 2 yards short. We'll see if Buck Pierce decides to get aggressive this early.
Nick Senecal, the rookie, lines up out wide. He's going to work underneath to become that check down guy. See him with that pre-snap motion, gets a little bit of a clear out in front of him. Tony Jones, the Bomber weak side linebacker, ready to pounce. Stop him short of that first down marker.
Lions look like they're going to go for it here. Chase Bryce in at quarterback. We've seen a lot of Xander Horvath this year's the short yardage quarterback. He's the one that's under center right now with Bryce deep behind him. And Horvath goes to the left side. It looks like he should have enough for the first down as the Lions move the sticks early.
Well, taking a look at this Blue Bomber defense, Jake Serezna, of course, has proven to be the perfect running mate for Willie Jefferson in the early part of this 2026 season. 5 sacks apiece for those two. Michael Griffin, something of a jack of all trades, an underrated performer on this Winnipeg D. And in Major Williams, you'll see one of the CFL's top defensive rookies so far this season.
Also gives this time to Horvath. Doesn't have a lot of room early, but fights his way for a solid first down gain. Picks up close to 5, which will bring up second and manageable.
Well, certainly one of the themes or storylines in this ball game will have to do with this BC offensive line, their ability to run the ball and put their young quarterback, Caden Salter, in the best possible position to be successful. Offensive line lost 2 starters last game. You got to believe the likes of Willie Jefferson and Jake Serezna are hoping they can force Salter and the Lions into passing situations.
Second down, just 4-man pressure. The completion. That is Kieran Poissant with the reception. Good gain on the play as the Lions cross midfield with their second first down.
And not too much duress, obviously, so far for Caden Salter. But operating, it would appear thus far, with a level of confidence and poise from the pocket.
We saw a number of those short throws in practice during the week, just working on timing, trying to get comfortable with where those receivers are going to be in those situations, but he looks comfortable early. First and 10 for the Lions. Both running backs in the backfield. Looks like a little bit of confusion there. Salter takes the ball himself, picks up a gain of 6. You saw Bailey and Horvath on the same side there. It looked like maybe Bailey wasn't sure where he was supposed to line up.
Yeah, you're getting some different sets and obviously different personnel in the ball game. Again, Bailey on the roster this week in place of James Butler. We're seeing the set with 2 American backs, but good reaction by the young quarterback, going where the play is supposed to go, even if he didn't get it where it was supposed to go in terms of who the ball carrier was. He knew the point of attack and turned into a positive play.
Again, an extra tight end into the game for the Lions. This time Bailey with the carry, he cuts back. Wilson with the nice tackle. Stands him right up at the 45-yard line. That's going to be 2 full yards short of the first down. We saw Buck Pierce get aggressive before, Will he do it again? Instead, he sends out Sean White for what will be by far his longest field goal attempt of the season, his longest attempt thus far, and his longest make have been just 43 yards. This is a 52-yard attempt.
Yeah, Sean White, certainly a guy who has been known for his accuracy throughout his career. Not necessarily a guy with a huge leg.
We'll see how this decision proves with Trey Vogel into the end zone, off the crossbar, and it is no good. Would have made it from 51, not from 52, but at the very least, they don't get a big return from the dangerous Bombers returner. The Lions with a couple of first downs, but they come away without points. Doink! Sean White comes up empty. Drew Brown's first start was a very good one. The last two, not as good, highlighted by a 4-interception game last week, Dwayne.
Yeah, certainly a game in which Drew Brown will be happy to have a short week. Here, a chance to try and erase the bad taste left behind by the performance against the Calgary Stampeders in that loss. And as you said, the 4 interceptions. Here we're seeing 2 backup quarterbacks going head-to-head in this football game. Guys at opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of their Canadian Football League resumes to date.
Drew Brown 2-1 this season, 1-2 lifetime against the BC Lions. He opens up with a give to Brady Oliveira, who fights his way through that vaunted Lions run defense to pick up 6 yards on first down.
And the Bombers perhaps looking to get Brady Oliveira that quick start. They'll be doing it without their right tackle, Jarrell Broxton. Micah Vanterpool makes his first start of the season in place of Broxton. And Oliveira, you heard the panel discuss it in the pregame, a little bit of discussion perhaps about his role, number of touches, etc., particularly down the stretch of the game against Calgary.
Quick pitch. This one goes to Tim White. White's got some room. Cuts to his left, across the 40, just outside the 30 before he runs out of bounds. A huge gain right there to put the Bombers in great scoring position.
Love the play call and the creativity in the offense, because the BC Lions, they're looking to pack the box with Brady Oliveira in there. A little slow to react, getting to the outside, and the speed of Tim Brown. Heard some nice complimentary play there in terms of that run action, getting the receiver involved on the sweep. Basically a shovel pass, an extension of the run game.
32-yard gain for White, gets to the 32-yard line of the Lions. Bombers knocking at the door here. This time the give again to Oliveira. He breaks through the first wave of defenders. Can't get past Jackson Finley, but more than good enough for the first down. Bombers at the 17-yard line of the Lions.
Well, Brady being Brady. Right here, good patience. Lets the O-line set up those blocks. They do a solid job getting into the second level. And as is typically the case, positive yardage for Brady Oliveira in that Bomber ground game.
He was asked after the last game if he was surprised that the 45-yard touchdown run, the longest of his career, was his last touch of the game, and he said, no comment. This time the handoff to Oliveira again, breaks through another tackle. Another positive gain for Oliveira as he owns this game early.
And a quick look at this BC Lions defense. Some changes on that side of the ball. A notable new addition. Lorenzo Malden returning from retirement to join the Lions. Jackson Finley moves from his usual spot at safety. He's going to play the nickel linebacker spot this week. Josh Haggerty, veteran from the University of Saskatchewan, moves in at safety.
Malden saw what Sean Lemon did last week with his 2 sacks coming off the couch. He figures he could do the same. Lions showing pressure here. The quick pass to White. Cuts inside, picks up the first block. Working for the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown. We do have flags on the play, but right now the Bombers have a 6-0 lead. Lions are pointing the other way. They think there's an illegal block near the goal line. This could be coming back. Let's see what Ben Major has to say. Yeah, he is pointing the other way. Looks like it is going to be holding against Winnipeg.
After yards are gained, holding, Winnipeg number 80. We'll go back 10 yards, but it's a first down for Winnipeg.
Well, the Bombers had things set up on the outside. Nick Dembski, and you're going to see Pokey Wilson gets tied up with his man. CJ Colden on the outside and just held on a little too long, getting the hands around the back.
It's going to be first down at the
crosses
16-yard line. 16-yard line.
Lions get a reprieve for now, but Brady Oliveira and that quick passing game of Winnipeg certainly in rhythm right now.
Yeah, good start for Drew Brown and obviously for Brady Oliveira as well.
Extra offensive lineman into the game for Winnipeg. This time the quick pitch goes the other way. Pokey Wilson, BC tries to string it up, but he cuts back for another good gain on first down.
Yeah, Wilson did well to get this north-south. It initially looked like the Lions defense was doing a good job of flattening things out, of keeping contained, not giving him a lane to turn it up. But once Wilson gets around the tight end, Dante Daniels, he sees a little bit of a gap and recognizes this is his best opportunity to take it vertical.
Second and 4 coming up here for Winnipeg. Lions showing some pressure. This time the give inside to Oliveira. He does not get the first down. Comes up a couple of yards short. Let's see what Mike O'Shea does here. The Lions' run defense has been outstanding this season. They've had success against some of the top backs in the league in terms of Justin Rankin, guys like Dedrick Mills. Here, Brady Oliveira's had some success, but he gets stopped there, and it looks like Winnipeg is going to kick the field goal.
Yeah, big stop to prevent the Winnipeg major there.
Castillo with a relative chip shot here. Kick from 16 yards is up and good, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers draw first blood, leading 3-0. Great opening drive at home as the Bombers look to bounce back. Castillo loving the kick. The bright lights aren't too big for Caden Salter. This guy was a production machine. 9,600 total yards and 91 touchdowns in 4 collegiate seasons.
Yeah, and really got his start at Liberty University, a former CFL quarterback, former CFL coach Kent Austin, his quarterback coach and offensive coordinator to begin his career. But in terms of the even bigger stage, how about following Shedeur Sanders playing for Coach Prime in the Colorado Buffaloes?
Yeah, 2023, he was the Group of 5 Player of the Year by a couple of publications after an outstanding season at Liberty. And everyone knew that at that point his days were numbered. Fumble snap right there. Winnipeg bounces on the football. Disaster for BC as Salter can't handle the snap and the Bombers take advantage. Not what Buck Pierce wants to see right now. His young quarterback with a positive first drive, not a positive start there. The ball hits Nick Senecal and goes to the turf before Winnipeg recovers.
DQ Miracle Maker making a huge impact because August 3rd
Happens at
Marshalls.
Dwayne, when a play like this happens, it's easy to blame the receiver that the ball hit. But is this on the quarterback for mistiming the snap count?
Yeah, and I know your feeling, we talked about this a little bit during the break, is that the quarterback's got to adjust his timing, knowing that his receiver hasn't cleared him. For me, yeah, I do tend to put it on the receiver a little bit, but in fairness to everybody involved, 3 slightly different cadences in the last 3 games for Nick Senecal and the rest of the offense. The timing was a little off.
Ball back to Brady Oliveira. He continues to fight and fights and picks up another easy first down. I think the message has been received loud and clear to the offensive staff. Get 20 the ball.
Yeah, and getting him the ball early So important. I think an opportunity here. You know, we talk all the time about complementary football and how sort of the situation of one unit affects what you're doing with the other two units. And I think for Winnipeg, running the football, trying to keep BC's defense on the field for longer drives at a time when they're playing with a young quarterback, that BC may not have those sustained drives, great strategy.
Drew Brown pulls it this time. Daniels with the reception. Close to another first down, possibly just short. Good pickup of 9 with the Lions defense getting all its attention at number 20.
Yeah, well set up. They go to the rookie. Dante Daniels, second-round pick out of North Carolina State. You know, and this is a little thing, but I like the decision here from Dante Daniels. We saw him in a game a few weeks back here in Winnipeg where he tried to hurdle a defender and ended up losing the football, fumbled the ball. I think there's a conscious decision there, a learning moment. Just protect the football, drop your shoulder.
Bryce Perkins into the game, running short yards, good enough for the first down. If he crosses the 10-yard line. Some extracurriculars after the play, but the play was blown dead. So let me ask you this. When you look at the success BC had in back-to-back games against Rankin and against Diedrich Mills, and it's not like they were playing with the lead throughout, maybe that first game against Edmonton, what is different here about what Winnipeg is doing within the run game?
Well, I think one of the things is just some of the different looks that they will give in terms of their receiver runs and so on that are going to force teams, as we saw a big run from Tim White early on a shovel pass, like you can't just play between the tackles on Brady.
Looked like Oliveira had a gap there, but got tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Gets half of it there. He's going to be brought down at the 5-yard line where it will be 2nd and goal from the 5.
Yeah, tight end formation, as we've seen much of this possession for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Look at the movement that the guard Gabe Wallace gets on Casey Sales, creating a lane for Brady Oliveira to do his thing.
Deontay Williams comes in off the edge to make the shoestring tackle. Otherwise, that's a walk-in touchdown. 2nd and 5. Oliveira remains in the backfield, gets the ball, cuts back, not going to get there. Good stop on the play by a host of Lions, pickup of maybe 1 or 2. That's going to bring up 3rd and 4, and Castillo comes into the game again, so the Lions D finds a way to hold it.
Yeah, and again, a big stop on back-to-back possessions for the BC Lions defense. Obviously, they want to see that offense get a little something going. But still holding the Bombers to field goals, staying within a possession. Young quarterback at the helm. You don't want to be chasing a lot in this game.
Castillo from 16 the last time, from the 12 this time. Gets up, and it is good, and the Bombers double their lead to 6-0. Late in the first quarter, Caden Salter will have an opportunity to come back and get his team off the board. Dwayne, you mentioned the connection that Salter has to his former coach in Ken Austin. He's got another connection, this one in the family. With more on that story, here's Danielle Bain.
That's right, Farhan. In the week leading up to Salter's first CFL start, he had some pretty cool advice come his way from a former Lions legend who he just found out also happens to be his cousin. One day in the Lions facility, he heard one of his coaches say the name Casey Printers. The second he heard that name, he thought to himself, wait a minute, that name sounds familiar. Is that my cousin? He texted his dad, who confirmed it right away. Salter had to laugh at himself because after he made the connection, he started to pick up on the fact that there were countless pictures of Printers around the facility that he never noticed before. Over the last week, Printers has reached out a few times with words of wisdom, encouragement, and unlimited stories from his time in the CFL, guys.
And that one season he had where he was named MOP, what a season it was. Just an instant impact.
Well, remarkable, and a little bit like Caden Salter, kind of thrown to the wolves. It's an early season injury to Dave Dickinson.
The quick fake to Horvath. This time the deep ball to Keon Hatcher. Hatcher can't track it, and it falls incomplete. Looked like he had him for a moment, but they couldn't connect.
Yeah, just needed a late adjustment to the trajectory of the ball there from Keon Hatcher. So you see him narrowing down his split. Takes that inside release and then bending it back out. He's expecting, looks like, a little bit more of a corner where Salter led him upfield. He was just not quite able to redirect to get to that one.
And that's the type of chemistry you just can't get in one full day of practice on a Tuesday in Surrey. 2nd and 10, Bombers bring 4. The quick throw inside, and it is almost intercepted, but no, it falls incomplete. As Salter was looking for Hatcher again, but he tried to find him between 2 defenders, and he's fortunate to come away without a second turnover here.
Yeah, Salter with a lot of confidence in his arm, particularly his velocity, ability to zip it in there.
Hatcher got his hands on it.
Yeah, would have been a bit of a circus catch as he had to contort his upper body to try and get that one.
But you can just see how quickly the ball gets to the target.
Yes.
Because this young man has a live arm. Carl Meyer on to attempt the punt. Not an attempt, it's just a punt. Bombers showing pressure. Let's see if they come here. Looks like they're running the clock down.
Five-down violation, BC number 17. We'll go back 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
BC only had 11 players on the field and didn't want to risk the protection, so they'll take the penalty.
A legal substitution would have been 10 yards, so they'll take the 5-yard time count as Parker McKenna comes onto the field. Very good opening drive for BC. The last 2 haven't gone as planned with the fumble on the previous drive and then a 2-and-out here. Meyer with the kick to Vauvel, who takes it at his own 20. Good coverage. Let's see if they can bring him down. And they do a short return on the play here, maybe 5 or 6 yards, as Winnipeg will take over at their own 25-yard line. We got ourselves a ball game, just 6-0 after the first quarter of play. We'll be back with the second quarter from Princess Auto Stadium when we return. Let's take a look at the first quarter stats. BC's averaging 74 rushing yards allowed per game. That's the lowest total in the CFL. Brady Oliveira already has 50 in this half.
Yeah, great start certainly for the Bombers offensively. And again, in terms of kind of being who they want to be, with Brady Oliveira being involved, playing physical football up front.
How much of that is the fact that Caden Salter is on the other side? As a team, Winnipeg's got to believe that BC may not put up a ton of points. So let's not make mistakes and keep the game in control because they're not going to explode on us.
Yeah, I think that that's certainly a consideration for both of these teams, is the fact that the BC Lions have a rookie quarterback making his first start in the CFL. From a Winnipeg point of view, I think if there's probably a feeling that it will be tougher for BC to sustain drives and have a long time of possession. They want to try and keep BC's defense out on the field as much as they can and wear them out with the run.
Oliveira again, another good gain, just like he was on his first drive. On his second drive, here we go again, 7 yards on the first carry of this possession for Winnipeg, bringing up 2nd and 3. And if you're Drew Brown, that's just where you like it. 2nd and 4, let's call it.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the latest pickup for Brady Oliveira, one thing I will say from a BC point of view with Salter is, yeah, I think head coach Buck Pierce is showing a lot of confidence in his rookie quarterback, from winning the toss and taking the ball right away to going for it on a 3rd down in their first possession and even attempting the long field goal.
Oliveira again, this time brought down pretty quick. Lions snuff out this drive in a hurry as it looks like Winnipeg will go 2-and-out.
Well, BC's offense, or defense rather, continues to hold strong. We've seen them on a couple of good offensive drives for Winnipeg, kind of stiffen up and limit them to field goals so far, but here, a very valuable 2-and-out.
Jaden Williams back to receive Jamison Sheehan's kick. Kick works its way to the right sideline. And he takes it at his own 19-yard line, looking for the wide side of the field. Nothing there, cuts back. Nothing there either. Not much, maybe a yard at best on the return as BC will take over at their own 20-yard line.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by The Score Bet, an official gaming partner of the CFL.
Lions start this position from their own 20, and this has been a theme for the Lions, the worst average starting field position in the league this season. Normally they start at their own 33-yard line, and they're well back of that now for the young quarterback to try to navigate. First and 10 at BC's 20. The fake to Horvath. The deep ball, Salter looking for Hatcher again, and he overshoots him. Hatcher can't get over top of Jonathan Moxey, and that brings up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and whether you want to see the trajectory on that change or the ball maybe thrown a little bit later, tough to say, but obviously a big overshoot in a situation where Salter had good protection and had time. Maybe predetermined a little bit on where he wanted to go with that football when you look at the positioning of Jonathan Moxey as well.
But you mentioned that Buck Pierce is confident in his ability to throw. I don't think he's going to prevent him from wanting to be aggressive and throw deep. 2nd and 10. Looks like there's pressure. Salter's going to take off. He's got the first down and slides across the 35-yard line. Pickup of 16. And now we saw his arm on the previous play. We get to see his legs right here.
Yeah, maybe channeling his cousin Casey Printers with that scrambling ability. But look at the decisiveness here. As soon as the pocket breaks down, he's not looking to throw once he gets on the move. He just realizes there's a gap. I'm going to take what I can get a fresh set of downs.
And that was so evident last week with the Lions' offensive line situation. 2 more changes in this game. Yeah. They need a quarterback to be elusive and do some of those things that slow down a pass rush. This time the give to Horvath, who cuts back. Good gain for Horvath on first down, maybe 6 yards, looking a little like Brady Oliveira on that rush.
Good hard run from Horvath after the run from the very elusive Caden Salter, over 2,400 rushing yards in his college career. And while Buck Pierce was sort of non-committal about it, yeah, I think it's more than fair to speculate that playing against this Winnipeg defense, and particularly when you talk about guys like Willie Jefferson, Jake Ceresna up front, a quarterback who's going to be under pressure, that you got to think the mobility of Caden Salter is a consideration.
The give again to Horvath, gets across the 45, close to first down yardage. Looks like he's going to come up a little bit short. You know, I asked Buck Pierce about this with Salter because he spent time here working with Chris Streveler. And I said, are there some parallels there you can draw with a mobile quarterback? And he wasn't quite sure because with Streveler, there's going to be a lot more designed run. He's going to play the game like a running back, whereas a guy like Caden Salter is going to drop back to pass, and then he's just going to try to take off and create as it comes available.
Yeah, more of the off-script stuff versus the package that you would put together for a Streveler.
About a half-yard short for the Lions. Horvath under center with Chase Bryce deep in the backfield. Horvath up, over, and good for the first down.
You know, just going back a couple minutes, Farhan, you made the point about the fact that the Lions have the worst average offensive starting position in the league, and this is where I was a little surprised on the opening drive when the Lions attempted the long field goal, because you often think in terms of playing with a young quarterback, you often think in terms of playing for field position, not putting him in bad starting positions. But I do think that speaks to the confidence that Buck Pierce has in Caden Salter.
First down at their own 47-yard line. Extra tight ends in the game for the Lions here. This time Amani Bailey with the carry. Burst through the middle of the defense. Picks up 4, maybe 5 yards. As the Lions try to stretch that defensive front and run inside.
Well, any success that they're able to generate in this ground game is all going to help in terms of managing the pressure on their young QB. As you see get a look at the resume of the Lions' new running back, Amani Bailey.
close to 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns in his 2 seasons at TCU. This time a high snap. Salter gets a handle on it, gives it to Bailey, but there is nothing there, and the Lions are going to have to punt.
And that defense stiffens Winnipeg's first-round pick in this year's draft. Defensive end Noor Gatkoff getting in on the play there.
Good job by Salter just to handle the snap. Carl Meyer on again to punt. Looks to the left sideline where Trey Bobble will take it. No yards on the play as Bobble works his way inside. Not a huge return on the play, but the Bombers will pick up extra yards with the penalty. We have seen plenty of this guy through the first quarter and a half. Brady Oliveira has his fingerprints all over this one. Time now for the Fisher Investments Canada stat of the game, and look no further than the guy who was owning this game, Brady Oliveira. 128 yards rushing last week to move past John Cornish. 23 100-yard games, second most by a Canadian running back.
Yeah, needless to say, a pretty impressive run for Brady Oliveira, and well on his way to number 24 here tonight. He's able to maintain his early pace.
50 yards through the first quarter. The Lions have managed to find a solution the last couple of drives. Let's see what this one looks like. Oliveira comes back into the backfield here. Looks like he's going to release on a pass. The quick throw to Pokey Wilson. He is brought down by Jackson Finley and Josh Haggerty to pick up maybe 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, good pursuit to the football there from the BC Lions defense. You don't want to give a speed guy like Ontario Wilson any kind of space to get going. Get to the football, get good leverage, wrap him up.
Gain of 3 brings up 2nd and 7. Bombers were 2 out in their last drive after having some consistent possessions early on. Brown takes the snap. We have penalty flags on the play. It looks like procedure. I think a member of the Bombers' offensive line moved early.
Procedure, Winnipeg number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
So left tackle Stanley Bryant charged with the infraction. Just rocking back a little bit early there.
Bryant in his 16th season. Hasn't taken many of those, I would think, during that stretch. The gold standard of offensive linemen in the Canadian Football League, still manages to have a lot of success at the age of 37. This time it's long yardage to go, and a draw play to Oliveira. Gets a lot of it back, but not enough for the first down on 2nd and 13. And the Bombers will again have to punt without a first down.
Yeah, and I am a believer sometimes with the draw play on 3rd down. It's a bonus if you pick up the first down, but it's often just one of those reminders for the defense. Keep them honest that you may still run in that situation. Try and slow down that pass rush a little bit.
Well, and if you're Mike O'Shea, BC hasn't scored yet.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't proven that explosive ability. You can play percentages, you can be conservative, and then stay in control. Williams takes it at his own 33, can't get past the first man down the field. Might have taken a late hit there. There is a penalty flag on the play. When we come back, we will sort it all out as the Lions take over, down 6 here at Princess Auto Stadium.
Got Winnipeg number 7. We're piling on.
No surprise when BC plays Winnipeg that this is the night they choose to honor one of the greatest linebackers ever to play in the Canadian Football League in Adam Bighill.
Yeah, certainly a future Canadian Football Hall of Famer, Adam Bighill. There you see the Grey Cup rings. Recognized not just as a great player, but a terrific leader as well. See the numbers on his tremendous career. Great to see Biggie honored here in Winnipeg. Guy who got his start with the BC Lions.
And you saw his young son there, AJ Adams Jr., who's turning into quite the little football player with dad getting the coach. He's enjoying that a lot. Xander Horvath with the carry. Tries to break the first tackle. Still manages to plow his way forward for a pickup of 6. Pickup of 4, I should say.
In case you needed a reminder of the impact of Adam Bighill. Of course, arriving here in Winnipeg as a free agent after a stint in the National Football League. Had an immediate impact both on and off the field on this Winnipeg franchise.
And same with the Lions. I mean, Mike Benavides is the guy that saw him that first camp as a defensive coordinator with the Lions under Wally Buono and knew the guy was going to make an impact. Caden Salter this time takes off on 2nd and 6. Picks up about 4, but that's going to bring up a 3rd and 2. Looks like the Lions are going to punt there. But when you look at Adam Bighill at 5'9", I remember his first game playing defensive end. We'll get back to that in a minute, but let's take a look at Salter here.
Yeah, he's got Willie Jefferson moving around to rush against different people. That time lined up on the nose. Quickly making his way into the secondary, flushing Salter out of there.
And you could tell he was looking to throw deep, but wisely decided nothing was there. He was just going to tuck it and run. Carl Meyer with the punt. Isn't going to let Vauvel touch that one. When we come back, Bombers will have the ball, but this guy has already made his impact felt in this game. Willie Jefferson having a renaissance campaign.
Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers continue to search for some offensive consistency without their starting quarterback, Zach Collaros. He's been sidelined since week 6 with a neck injury, but when I spoke to Drew Brown, starting quarterback right now, he says that they've obviously had a really strong relationship since he started his campaign as a rookie here in Winnipeg. And when it comes to what Collaros does that's so well in supporting his fellow quarterbacks, he said that he always knows what to say, especially after last week's loss. He said the first thing that he said was, listen, I played in that exact game. You're handling it better than I have back in the day. Brown described it by saying the words spoken by Collaros are written in red for him. That's how much his weight and opinions and experiences hold. He says obviously Collaros is most valuable when he's playing, but what he brings off the field, you can't put a price on that value, guys.
And Collaros on the 6-game injured list has now missed 3 games. This is game 4. I don't know that they're going to take him to 6. A lot depends on what happens tonight. They've got a bye coming up, but I think he's close to a return.
Yeah, which, regardless of how Drew Brown does, just as fans of the Canadian Football League, I think we're all happy to hear that Zach is on the recovery trail.
No gain on that play for Oliveira. This time, Brown looks and finds Gavin Cobb with the reception. Not going to be good enough for the first down, and the Bombers will again, for the 3rd straight possession, go 2 and out.
Yeah, BC Lions defense locking in a little bit, stringing together a series of stops and helping themselves in that field position battle as well. They have an opportunity here to potentially get a start inside Bomber territory.
Punt takes Williams back to his own 30-yard line. Nothing doing there, as has been the case most of the season. So the Lions return to good coverage on the play by the Bombers. The Lions will take over at their own 33-yard line. Get ready for a new season of breathtaking spectacle, shocking betrayal, and explosive drama. HBO's House of the Dragon. Stream now only on Crave. Right now, if you're taking the under 54 points, you probably feel pretty good. As you'd expect with 2 backup quarterbacks, these 2 teams have combined for 25 rushing attempts and just 11 pass attempts so far. So almost a half a play. That is rush number 26 in this game. Xander Horvath with the carry. Picks up maybe a couple.
Yeah, nothing fancy there. Horvath just keeps it front side.
This is the 3-minute timeout.
That's the 3-minute warning. 6 points through 27 minutes of play, but we still have a close game. Lots to be decided here.
Coming up at the half, it's a big one. We still don't have a topic, but we'll get there. Oh, Dave, were you doing stats sitting down?
I'm doing some math.
Okay.
Pretty exciting.
But we have straight fire.
Straight fire! There we go.
There you go. We have something. We have something. Straight fire.
Yeah, we have straight fire. Yeah, I like it.
Jimmy Rydell, a.k.a. Slurpee Boy, must be producing because they've got nothing prepared.
I was thinking the panel was just a little more decisive when Laura Dyken was out.
No, that's
Just
fair.
saying.
That's fair. Kate is far too entertaining. I've been in those shoes. When Kate gets talking, you are fully captivated. Salter, meanwhile, looks to escape, takes off, should have the first down, and slides across the 45-yard line. Salter with just 5 pass attempts. He's 2 of 5 so far in this game. 26 yards rushing. He'll add to that total with that run right there, but not trying to do too much yet.
No, and that's the mindset with which he has to come into this game.
Lions going tempo here. This time the pass to Keon Hatcher deep over the middle. Nothing there. No flags either. That one looked close. Let's see if Buck Pierce wants to have another look.
See Keon Hatcher coming out of the slot, working across the middle.
Nothing there.
DJ Crinkle and Jake Kelly supplying the coverage.
Good coverage in the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 10 for BC. Salter drops back, looks over the middle, and it is intercepted, or is it? Let's see what the referees ruled here. Ball got batted up into the air, and they are calling it an interception. Jalen Smith with what appears to be an interception. I'm sure we'll get a replay there, but if it stands, the Bombers will be in great field position.
Watch Willie Jefferson on this play. He gets stoned in pass protection at the line of scrimmage, but still impacts the play, eyes on the quarterback, gets in the passing lane, times that jump to deflect the ball. Now the only question is, was Smith able to secure
The
it?
previous play is under automatic review by the replay center.
I don't think so. I think he trapped that.
Yeah, I think the tip of that one hit the ground in between his arms.
Back to Willie Jefferson, though. That is pass deflection or knockdown number 99. One more to 100, second all-time. You'd think those records would belong to defensive backs. They do, but there's a big defensive lineman in second.
I was going to say it belongs to a defensive back in Eddie Davis for now. But Willie's certainly hoping to change that in the not-too-distant future.
And when you look at Jefferson's season, a year ago the numbers would suggest that he was slowing down. Not this year.
Yeah, I think they found him just the right deputy to play that role to Willie's sheriff on that defensive line in Jake Serezna.
And the two of them have been
49 BMT.
great influences for a young guy like Newer
49
Gatkuth who got
BMT.
taken in the
OAG
draft.
game. Let's go get it.
Yeah, well,
After automatic review by the replay center, the result of the play is overturned. It's an incomplete pass. It's going to be 3rd down for BC at the 48-yard line.
Salter gets a break there.
49 BMT.
And the Lions get a reprieve. They're going to have to punt here, but certainly different field position than if you'd have taken the interception. That said, with Vauvel on the other end, you never know what it's going to look like.
that's right.
Meyer this time goes right side with the punt. Vauvel feels it at his own 12. Makes the first man miss, runs into his own block. Still on his feet. Gets tackled just outside his own 20-yard line, where Winnipeg takes over with 2:29 remaining in the first half, up 6.
Well, Trey Vauvel anxious to get going after Carl Meyer coffin cornered him a little bit earlier. Yeah, good kick and good coverage between the numbers and the sidelines. Lions doing a nice job getting down there, but Vauvel's so tough to wrap up.
Carl Meyer, meanwhile, who's a very good punter, is a former professional rugby player in South Africa before he came to the CFL, and done. You'd think, looking at him, he doesn't look like a kicker. Could be a defensive end, and he's used that size and rugby experience. He leads BC with 6 special teams tackles. That's not a good sign.
This is a punter, though. In fairness to the rest of their special teams unit, as you say, usually when a kicker is leading the way, it's because you're getting all sorts of, you're giving up a lot of long returns.
Well, they have.
But Carl Meyer is a guy, he goes looking for it.
Injured Lion being helped off the field. We'll get a number for you shortly.
Shades of Jamie Borum.
Ty Russell, the injured Lion, backup defensive back, began the year as a starter. Maybe they could put Meyer back there. He'd be the biggest DB they have. Drew Brown now looks for the quick screen to the left. That is Wilson with the reception. He's got some room before being brought down. Huge tackle by Darnell Sankey on the play, or he could have gone.
Well, this is magnificent execution, and you've got to have so much faith in the blockers to kind of have the belief to hit that lane with speed. The way that Wilson does, you see a couple of the big boys getting out in front of him. They've got the kick-out blocks as Wilson loops inside.
Nick Dembski with the first big block, and then after that, Wilson did most of the work himself as Brady Oliveira gets the ball back here. And again, the Lions seem to have made some adjustments after those first couple of drives, because it's been tough sledding for Oliveira since. Pickup of 4.
As you say, the Lions tightening up a little bit. Darnell Sankey from his middle linebacker spot leading the way, joined by another of the CFL's top defensive rookies, a guy we'll be keeping an eye on here in Parker McKenna.
Lions showing blitz here on 2nd and 6. The quick throw goes over the head of Nick Dembski and falls incomplete, and Winnipeg will have to punt. Lions defense doing its part.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Farhan, their success against some of the Canadian Football League's top rushers through the first half of this season. Looked like Brady Oliveira was trying to write a different story, but Mike Benavides and his group locking it down here in the second quarter.
End over end punt by Sheehan. Williams takes it at his 20. Has some room this time. Able to make a few miss and gets it out across the 45-yard line before being brought down. Best punt return of the season for Jaden Williams.
Williams threatens to the outside. Then turning it up, push that ball out near midfield to the Lions' 46-yard line for the start.
1:26 to go, plenty of time for Caden Salter. We'll see how aggressive Buck Pierce wants to be at this stage of the half. If you go down 6 at halftime, you probably feel pretty good about your situation still being in the game. A handoff. This time Salter pulls it. Salter's got some room. Gets it across midfield, across the 50. Runs out of bounds at the 48, maybe the 47-yard line. Something he can bring to the offense here that certainly Chase Brights couldn't.
Yeah, well, this seems like something of a common sense piece, but really calling the game, tailoring the game plan to the starting quarterback you've got. With Caden Salter, that speed, that running ability adds another dimension you certainly want to take advantage of.
Lions first and 10. Amani Bailey with the carry, cuts back. Bailey with some room. Nice little burst to pick up close to 9 yards. Lions on the move.
A great run here from Bailey, showing a couple of pretty good shakes in a small area. Did a nice job setting up the block of Una in front of him. Fake outside before cutting back to his right.
Michael Griffin with the tackle coming off the edge. Otherwise, Bailey would have had a lot of room here. Instead, Salter stays in the game on 2nd and a long yard. This time the handoff to Bailey again. He finds some room, gets the first down. He's still going across the 30. Brought down by Williams at the 29-yard line.
Well, As the Bombers' run game slows down a little bit, the Lions' run game seems to be finding its way with the newcomer, Imani Bailey. We saw him with some great moves inside earlier here. He's going to bounce to the perimeter.
Lions coaching staff and front office very excited about Bailey and just the speed that he can potentially bring to that offense. He'll also be involved in the return game at some point. Salter, meanwhile, on 1st and 10, throws it to Poisson. The ball's a little high. Poisson comes down with it, picks up 5 on the play.
Good focus here from Kieran Poisson, as he knows the Bomber tacklers are approaching, as he's got to kind of turn his back and leave his feet to go get this ball.
Bombers showing blitz, they bring 5, Salter keeps it and goes, breaks the first tackle, he's still going inside the 10-yard line with 20 seconds to go, and the BC Lions are knocking on the door of potentially taking a lead going into the half.
And we acknowledged earlier, Salter, a different kind of runner than Chris Strebler, but he flashed a little bit of fullback on that one.
This time the ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Looks like Jalen Smith with the pass deflected there. Salter looking for the quick slant. That'll bring up 2nd down. Plenty of time here in a goal-to-go situation with 14 seconds to go. You know they want to finish this up with a touchdown, and how much confidence that would bring to the underdogs going into halftime.
Clock management critical here for the young quarterback to make sure they don't let an opportunity slip away.
4 of Salter's 6 rushes have gone for over 10 yards. I'm sure the Bombers will be keeping an eye on him here. This time he takes off, the pump fakes, still got it at the 1, at the goal line. Is he in? Touchdown, BC! Caden Salter fights for extra yards, breaks tackles, and scores. I'm sure this is going to get reviewed, but an outstanding drive for the young Lions quarterback.
Yeah, and this is one that'll build his confidence and certainly have Winnipeg defensive coordinator Jordan Younger talking to his guys
about
containing this kid on the run. The previous play is under
automatic review by the replay center.
Let's take a look here. Gets tackled at about the 2. Elbow is down. Hips are down. I think that's coming back.
Yeah, he has not crossed the plane. The ball has not crossed the plane as he is down.
So with 5 seconds to go, it's going to be 3rd down at the 1, assuming the replay center sees it the same way. What do you do here for the Lions?
Go for the touchdown 100%.
Absolutely. And I think they're going to. Chase Bryce coming into the game with Horvath already there. So I think they've decided they're going for it here.
And there you see, again, clearly the ball not quite to the goal line. And Salter goes down.
All right, a huge
After
moment in the
automatic
game.
review by the replay center, the ruling on the field is overturned. It's going to be 3rd down at the 1-yard line with 7 seconds on the clock.
Just a huge moment in this game for both teams. Xander Horvath sneaks to the right, and he is in. This one's going to count. Touchdown BC, and they're a point after away from taking a lead into halftime. Who would have guessed that, Dwayne Ford?
What a massive way to finish the first half for Caden Salter and the BC Lions. We had seen Salter use his legs a couple of times already in this ball game, but really his running ability took over that final drive.
8 plays, 64 yards in a minute 26. Sean White on to attempt the extra point. He missed from 52 earlier. This kick is up, and it is good. And the BC Lions head into halftime with a 7-6 lead. And Dwayne, we've talked about the conservative nature of Winnipeg's offense. It worked in the first quarter with Brady Oliveira, but it allows the Lions to stay in it. There's 2 sides to look at it. Will they open it up in the second half?
Yeah, I think they've got to look at some of the things that they build off of the run game with Brady Oliveira. No shortage of playmakers in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers receiving corps, that if BC is going to focus their defensive manpower on shutting down Brady, then that's when you got to start looking to the Tim Whites.
What about Caden Salter? You know, he hasn't had an opportunity to throw it a ton yet, but his legs have gotten more involved, and when that happens, he's a lot to handle.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you sort of go with your strongest assets, and you know that maneuverability that Salter possesses is a big part of it for him at this stage. Not a lot of experience as a CFL passer, obviously, but he has sure hurt the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the ground.
We've seen 2 designed runs. The rest has all been off script, and it's worked for him. He's standing by right now with Danielle.
Thanks, Farhan. Caden, your first CFL start. I know there's some plays that you probably want back, but how are you feeling? You're going into the half up.
Hey, I feel good, man. We got a lot of work to do, you know. We got to finish these drives. We just got to go out there and finish executing the game. We got to finish, and that's one thing that I preached this week, to finish drives. We ain't been doing too good at it so far, but it was good that we just ended the quarter with a score.
What have been some of the messages from the veteran guys out there when you're not finishing those drives and you're on the sidelines?
Hey, just keep going, one play at a time, man. It's one play at a time, and it's a long game. It's a long game to go. We just got to keep on going.
Thanks so much. Good luck in the third quarter. Well, Kate and the panel as halftime gets going. Caden Salter, his first CFL start. Maybe he didn't think they'd be up at half, but the tables have turned. BC in the lead.
Well, I gotta tell you, if you're the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now, you're scratching your head because all in all, I mean, basically BC just hung around the entire time, and now they've got a 1-point lead at the half. Back alongside Paul Appelese, Dave Naylor, and Milt Stiegel. And let's talk about Caden Salter a little bit more.
Yeah.
And look, we were talking about him in pregame, and the one thing we saw from him in college at Liberty and then again at Colorado was the way he moved his legs. He's got 79 yards on the ground.
Yep.
That has been his greatest strength. Not great overall, though, 3 of 9. But again, they're ahead, so who really cares?
That's all that matters. And I'm sure Mike O'Shea right now is like, guys, what are you doing? We're in allowing this team that we should be up on, that we should go out there and crush. Now they have life. Now they feel like they can walk on water, and it's because we're allowing them to do that. And you're going to use what you got. That's what you got to do. When what you want to do is not working, go back to what you know it works, and that's using your legs. That's exactly what Salt of the Earth has done so far. So good for these BC Lions coming out. They weathered the storm. You know, Winnipeg was really driving on them early, got themselves in a position to score, but they kept Winnipeg out of the end zone, only allowed them to score 6 points. Then they come out in this final drive for the half and score 7 points. So they're coming out in this half with some confidence. You can see their demeanor. You can see Winnipeg's demeanor is totally different. So good for these BC Lions. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do when they come out in the second half. If they can come out, put some points on the board, give them more confidence, you never know what can happen in this game.
Yeah, and we were saying it here. If the Bombers don't put the ball in the end zone, they're going to leave BC hanging around if they just keep kicking field goals, and BC did a good job. Caden Salter, let's talk about this. The important thing you have to do, young quarterback, play caller, is don't get bored. If the kid can run with his legs and use his legs, keep building as many things for him to go ahead and do anything he can, whether it's drop back passes. You saw him do a couple of zone read pulls where he can run with the football, get it out on the perimeter. You saw a draw play. Give him as many opportunities as you can. Well, you got to throw the football. It's a CFL, you got to throw the football. Hey, listen, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last season won a game with 4 completions by Chris Streveler in Ottawa. So, like, you don't get tired of that. You get tired of, what does this kid do really well? Let's throw one shot down the field maybe once a quarter, but otherwise, let the kid use his legs.
Lapo, a name I heard about Caden Salter today, just kind of who he looks like when he plays, was Damon Allen. I didn't throw it out in the pregame because that's pretty high praise.
A little early.
But the gliding presence when he escapes the pocket kind of reflects that.
When he ran that quarterback draw, he looked different, man.
Damon Allen didn't have dreads, though, did he?
Yeah.
I don't think he had dreads.
He did not. He did not.
You know, let's turn attention to the Bombers now. And the biggest story coming in was Brady Oliveira and his comments this week saying that the Bombers, they didn't really know what their offensive identity was. And we all said in the pregame, watch Brady get the ball a number of times. He's got 12 attempts already. He's got 67 yards. And you know what? It was Brady ball to start this game.
Yeah, it was right out of the gate. In fact, he had 7 carries in the first quarter. That's more carries than he had in the first quarter of the last 3 games combined. And you saw it looked like old-time Bomber football. Lapo, here they go, breaking it down early. playing physical at the line of scrimmage. They ran some plays to kind of stretch the defense side to side, open up some holes for Brady Oliveira. But as the quarter progressed, you saw BC start to make some adjustments. And this is a good run defense. First 5 carries, he's averaging 8 yards a carry. After that, it's about 5, and they've had some 2 and outs, or two Brady touches. We said that you got to establish the run early and then base your pass game off of that. Drew Brown's only thrown the ball 8 times. And, Brady Oliveira is going to be held up like he was in the second quarter. They're going to need a better performance from their quarterback.
Here's what I'll say. Brady getting the ball. Everybody wants Brady to get the ball on first down. Well, the BC Lions know he's getting the ball on first down.
Yeah.
And you're kicking field goals. You have to also keep him off balance, throw an explosive, get a shot play downfield, because I know we're trying to take care of our best player.
Mm-hmm.
You have to protect our best player by doing other things so it's not Brady run.
Let's make sure this second half is more exciting than that first half. I like the last drive of the game was good.
We were joking at the 3-minute warning, but at least it picked up.
Got some drama.
Exactly.
The punters were pretty good in that.
You know what's the CFL? It always picks up in the second half. So coming up after the break, by the way, it is Straight Fire!
I ain't stopping, keep it going. I ain't stopping, keep it going. Ain't no option, stay in motion. I ain't stopping, keep it going. I ain't stopping, keep it going. I ain't stopping, keep it going. Ain't no option, stay in motion. I ain't stopping, keep it going. I ain't stopping, keep it going. I ain't stopping, keep it going.
Week 9 continues with Little Friday Night Football. The Montreal Alouettes in Ottawa to visit the Red Blacks. You can see that 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And that's a double dip on Saturday. The Stampeders taking on the Tiger Cats. And how is this for a rematch? What a game it was last week. The Rough Riders taking on the Edmonton Elks. The panel will be on location as well. You know what, Commonwealth? We want that place packed. We're expecting over 30,000 fans. If you're in Edmonton, come watch this football game. All right, you know what? You love it. It's a segment we like to call
Straight Fire!
Kick us off, Dave Naylor.
Last play of the game in the Ontario U12A title game. Zach Utero to Holden Stewart for the fingertip catch. It's a walk-off for North Bay to win the title. That is Straight Fire!
Camera work's exceptional.
Oh, they
Celebration and all.
Look at that. Excellent. All right, the NFL Flag Football Championships. Team Canada, receiver Isaiah Smith. Watch this catch. I can't believe he made the catch. One-handed grab as they beat Mexico to win the U15 international title. Somebody get me that kid's phone number. I'm going to be talking to him in a couple of days. That was Straight Fire!
You always do the flag football highlights.
Yeah.
CGFL football, VA Riders receiver Morgan McCubbin with an incredible catch. Watch how he contorts his body and makes the beautiful one-hand catch for the touchdown, baby. And he gets up and celebrates. You know why? Because he knew he was going to be on what? Straight Fire!
How about some U12 football in Ontario? Oakville receiver Bray Beveridge with a catch between 2 defenders, and he is gone. One of 3 TDs on the day and an Oakville comeback victory. Woo, he's got a little speed to him, and that's what we like to call Straight Fire. And don't forget, if you've got your highlights at home, we love reading them. It's straightfire@bellmedia.ca. I don't feel like we do enough of it right now, by the way. We love reading your highlights. Send them in. Lapo needs some players from Team Canada, so just send them in. You never know. Meanwhile, Cal Murphy being honored here at Princess Auto Stadium. Wade Miller and Company unveiling the banner. Looks fantastic. Bombers currently down by 1.
Just a beautiful night here in Winnipeg. The Lions with a 1-point lead. Not many expected that. Let's send it down to the field. Here's Brady Oliveira with Danielle Bain.
Brady, this BC defense is known for shutting down the run game, but you're still finding ways to break through. 67 rushing yards so far. What's working well for you right now?
We got a great offensive line. That's all because of those boys up front. Also our receivers that are, work all throughout the week, coming in the box, getting out their DNs, going to the back, because whatever we ask them to do, it's a team effort.
You talk about that O-line, Micah Vanterpool getting his first start this season. What impresses you about his willingness to come in and be ready for the moment?
Yeah, it's a big hole to fill. Obviously, we know how well Broxton is for us. He's a star in this league, but for Micah to come in, he's been chomping at the bit. I've seen him working tirelessly these last few weeks, waiting for his opportunity, so it's good to see him out there and making the most of it.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. Oliveira with 48 yards on 7 carries in the first quarter. Second quarter, BC appeared to figure it out, just 19 yards on 5 carries, 3.8 per. Carl Meyer with the kickoff. Trey Vauvel deep to receive. He takes it at his own 12-yard line to the 20, to the 25, where he is wrapped up and brought down. Winnipeg takes over at their own 33-yard line.
Well, as you said, Farhan, a tale of 2 quarters, perhaps, for Brady Oliveira. Very strong start. The Bombers continue to remain committed to that ground game into the second quarter, but not quite with the same results. A couple of 2-and-outs in that quarter as the Lions started to find a little bit of momentum.
Winnipeg with 3 wins this season when trailing at the half. The rest of the CFL has 3 combined, so they're comfortable in this situation. We'll see if they open it up a bit more. The play-action fake. Brown looking deep, has a completion, and it's Tommy Neild coming back for the catch just outside Winnipeg's 50-yard line. Nice way to open up the second half.
Yeah, you heard Lapo talk a little bit about this. Tommy Neild, the trail receiver in this set. See versus zone coverage, things open up, sits down in a little bit of open space for an easy completion for Drew Brown. But the fact that, yeah, with the BC Lions defense anticipating runs on 1st and 10, sometimes you got to do other things.
This time they do give to Oliveira, who cuts back, has some room. Looks a lot like what it looked like in the first quarter, a gain of 9 to set up second and very short.
Take a look here at the cutback from Brady Oliveira. Press the point of attack, get that defense flowing. They over pursue and just bend it back into the gap.
Nick Dembski comes around the backside there to help with the blocking for the cutback. One of the best blocking receivers in the league. Perkins comes in. And second and short. Perkins slides to the left, plenty of room, has the first down. More Brady, more success for Winnipeg.
Yeah, the Bombers looking for a particular formula, and yeah, there's always that connection between the rushing yards and the win-loss. Always a little bit of a chicken or the egg. You have games like today where Brady's a big part of the game plan early. Sometimes it's a matter of Brady being the finisher. A lot of carries once they have a lead.
13 carries already. Betts with the pressure. Brown throws it away. Raylan Goforth, the nearest Lions defender. 2nd and 10, Winnipeg.
Well, we'll see the Lions getting beaten a little bit. Keep an eye on Matthew Betts, some pressure coming. So you see that rush inside on Vanterpool. Kind of had him off balance, not sure which way Betts was going to go there.
Second and 10, obvious passing situation here for Winnipeg. Lions showing pressure. They bring one extra. The completion. It's Kevin Clercius with the catch. Good enough for a first down.
Yeah, and a big second down conversion there for Winnipeg. I started to say before that Winnipeg had been winning on first down to start this third quarter, moving the football, and then the Lions get them into that defensively favorable 2nd and 10, but Drew Brown executes beautifully to move those sticks. Got to make plays against the pressure package if you want to get them out of it. Brown did it there.
Brown now 1st and 10 as they empty out the backfield. Looks for a quick screen to Daniels, who makes the first guy miss before being tripped up. Sankey with the tackle. Gain of a couple, maybe one. Another 2nd and long coming up for Winnipeg. And this has been kind of the model for the Lions all year. They give up the fewest yards per play on first down, but then give up the most completions on second down.
As you see Drew Brown with that second down screen, kind of altering his throwing motion to get it around the defender. Good pursuit to the football by the Lions. Bottle up Dante Daniels.
Second and long again. This time a check down to Oliveira. Should have enough for the first down. Fights his way forward to about the 26-yard line, and another second and long conversion for Winnipeg.
Watch Oliveira from the backfield. Just left of the quarterback. Check. Release. Brown getting rid of it just in time as he had an oncoming defender there.
Yeah, both of those second and long completions, he's had a Lion in his face and has still managed to throw an accurate pass. Bombers in good shape here. First and 10 to the 26. Tim White with the quick reception. Lions are all there right away. Another very short gain, maybe a couple. That'll bring up 2nd and 8. Winnipeg's converted the last 2 second and longs. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it's not a way you want to live, offensively relying on those second and long conversions, but success on the last 2. Just trying to keep this drive alive.
BC was able to get off the field a couple of times early, holding the Bombers to a couple of chip shot Sergio Castillo field goals. BC showing pressure. They bring 6. That ball deflected at the line of scrimmage. Looks like Parker McKenna may have got his hands on it, and that'll force another field goal here for Winnipeg.
Well, mentioned Parker McKenna's name earlier. There's number 42, the rookie weak side linebacker. Guy having a quick impact, 16 tackles in his last 3 games, had his first CFL sack last week. Earning some comparisons to a guy honored here earlier tonight.
Yeah, Adam Bighill. The kick is up, the kick is good, and the Bombers are back in front by 2. Small school product, eventually had a big senior season and has carried that into his 4th CFL start. Also honored earlier today was Cal Murphy, the late Cal Murphy. His family was able to watch this as he gets inducted into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, very well deserved, long time coach and general manager of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a legend. Had the honor of playing for him for a year in 1993, and I can tell you Cal had a reputation for being very gruff, but I can tell you that the kindness and patience with which he treated me would help my career a great deal.
This time, Salter keeps it again, has all sorts of room coming around the corner. Salter in the clear at the 40, at the 30 before being shoved out of bounds by Major Williams. Big run for Caden Salter, and the Lions are in great field position.
And I am shocked, given the way the final BC offensive series went. Caden Salter making plays with his legs. I'm shocked that this happened on the first Lions offensive play of the 3rd quarter. That the Winnipeg Blue Bombers weren't more prepared for this play.
When it happened earlier, Riley Pickett was coming around the edge and helping block. This was purely a read and a decision by Salter, who has 119 yards rushing already in this game. This time the handoff to Horvath, no, the fake, and he looks inside to McInnes, his first target of the game, and it's incomplete. Almost intercepted. Dietrich Nichols right there on the Lions receiver.
Yeah, the rookie quarterback maybe a little guilty here of being predetermined that the ball was going there. As you could see, the only thing that prevents that from being an interception is the fact that Justin McInnes is 6'6", because Dietrich Nichols had position.
2nd and 10 for BC from the Winnipeg 30-yard line. Lions with a good response following the field goal to open the 3rd quarter for Winnipeg. 4-man pressure. Salter trying to escape. Still has the ball. Not going to happen this time. Salter is brought down. And who else Willie Jefferson now leading the league with 6 sacks on the season.
Well, there's your welcome to the CFL moment for Caden Salter. Getting sacked by one of the best to ever do it, Willie Jefferson. Violent hand, stays alive, and eventually swallows up the young QB. We'll give Salter credit for not trying to force a ball under duress, though. Trying to force something to happen.
Sean White on to attempt a 43-yard field goal, which would match his season long, and he does. The kick is up and good. He missed from 52 earlier, but nails that one from 43. Lions back in front, and it is Sean White, second all-time in field goal percentage. He knows how to put him through the uprights. Here's a look at the statue outside the stadium dedicated to Cal Murphy. And I got to tell you, this was the mid-'80s, and I was a young teenager in high school in BC, I used to hate Cal Murphy. They had just opened BC Place. Don Matthews was the coach for BC. BC Winnipeg was a thing. And then I met him when he was a scout late in his career in Saskatchewan. What a wonderful man. Yeah. I felt bad for hating him as a teenager. It's just so accomplished at all levels of the game.
Yeah. Fierce competitor, but as you said, a true gentleman.
He used to try to get the Lions to have to take delay of game penalties because the fans were too loud. And they wanted the fans penalized. I was not happy at that point in my life, but I've grown since. Can't you tell? Nick Dembski on the speed sweep, pick up a 4, as Tommy Condell tries to find different ways to get the run game going here.
Yeah, try and create a little space using other players in their run game, extensions of the run game, to create a little space to allow Brady Oliveira to continue to have that success between the tackles.
Second and 6, Brown looks to the sideline, has an open receiver, it's Tommy Neild, gets the first down before being pushed out of bounds at the 53. Well, that's Gavin Cobb? It was Cobb. His parents in Victoria will be upset if I got the name wrong.
Well, and I know you take pride with only a handful of former members of the Simon Fraser football program still in the Canadian Football League. You got to make sure you look after your alma mater.
Yeah, he finished his career at Manitoba, but we take credit for him at SFU. Monte Litre, Michael Couture might be the only others. This time, the quick pass to Dembski. Deontay Williams right there for the tackle for loss.
Yeah, Williams in hot pursuit all the way on this one. There you see number 9 tracking Dembski across the formation. Dembski bubbles wide. And there's Williams to make the play. Good job as well by the corner, CJ Colden, to make sure that was contained. Allow Williams to pursue it from the backside.
Second and 13 coming up for Winnipeg. Matthew Betts coming around the corner, and he has him. Sack number 6 for Betts. Jefferson got his 6th. Betts says, I'm going to tie you, Willie.
Yeah, you and I worked the Lions-Argos game together on Saturday, and I said at the start of that when Matthew Betts, coming from the defensive right side here, that he was due to have that breakout game. You know, he's not always necessarily a fast starter, but at some point, Betts every year seems to start getting them in bunches. He had 2 on Saturday, and here he goes.
Timed that snap very well. Stanley Bryan didn't get a hand on him. Jonah Tavai, the injured Lion. And when you saw Drew Brown leave and get up after that sack, he was holding his hip a little bit.
Back, yeah.
So let's keep an eye on that as well. Trainer has a quick visit with Brown. Looks to be okay.
And Matthew Betts, Willie Jefferson, forcing us to update our statistical board. Jake Serezna, over to you.
And that is the 50th sack in Matthew Betts' career. He becomes the 9th Canadian to record 50 sacks. Now over 150 career tackles as well. Most valuable defensive player in the league last year.
Betts originally the number 3 overall pick in the 2019 CFL draft, selected by Edmonton, spent his first couple of years there. And much like Justin McInnes, another guy who is a high pick, McInnes in Saskatchewan, these guys really have kind of found their stride as Canadian starters, excelling on the West Coast.
Tavai still hasn't made it all the way off the field. That doesn't look good. And if you want to know why BC has had so much success defending the run through the early stages of this season, look no further than Jonah Tavai. We'll see if Winnipeg tries to take advantage of that going forward. Not that they need a reason to run the ball tonight. Jamison Sheehan with the punt. Good return by Jaden Williams his last time out. Let's see what he comes up with here. Looks to the wide side of the field, now tries to cut it back. Good coverage on the play by the Bombers special teams unit. Matthew Betts, fantastic season last year, getting hot at the right time when BC needs him most in 2026. Talked a lot about Brady Oliveira tonight. How about the other running back, Xander Horvath, getting his first start?
Yeah, the Lions going for a little bit of a different look in their backfield. Xander Horvath, Amani Bailey sharing that backfield. James Butler out of the lineup tonight. Horvath getting it done with a couple of runs from that regular offensive set, as well as his usual duties under center and short yardage.
8 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown for Horvath. BC takes over from their own 21 with Amani Bailey into the backfield. The quick fake. Kieran Poisson with the reception on the screen. Gets inside a couple of blocks, but not before Tony Jones says hello with a big hit. Poisson smiling after that one.
And Tony Jones, terrific sideline to sideline linebacker. Here working out to the perimeter. Watch him lower the boom on Poisson as he tries to cut it inside. I think Kieran knew he was a little out of his weight class on that one.
Yeah, Evan Holm held him up. Jones finished him off, and that brings up 2nd and 7, close to 8 for BC here. Late in the third quarter, BC with a 2-point lead. Double clutch going to Keon Hatcher. Williams is right there, and the pass sails incomplete. He has tried to go to Hatcher a few times. They just haven't been able to get on the same page.
And you called it with the double clutch. You know, you hold your breath a little bit when you see the young quarterback, whether it's patting the football or a situation like that where he's second guessing what he's doing with it. You just want to see Caden Salter be decisive and put that zip on the ball that we've seen from him so far.
Carl Meyer's been busy tonight. Here he is on to attempt to punt with Trey Bobble near his own 40-yard line. Officials hadn't blown the play in yet, I don't believe.
We're just going to reset everything. We have to get the proper ball.
No one explains better than Ben Major.
Yes, very elaborate explanations, leaves no confusion. But very succinct to the point.
Bobble receives it at his own 39. Makes the first 2 men miss before finally being brought down. That's Riley Pickett with the tackle. Bobble had a lane down the sideline, but nonetheless his team has great field position. Bombers trail by 2 on a beautiful night in Winnipeg.
Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium, and with offensive lineman for the Bombers, Jarrell Broxton, out with a knee injury, Micah Vanterpool got the go-ahead to make his first start of the 2026 season here tonight against the Lions. And when I asked him about being patient and knowing that his time would come, he tells me he learned some patience in a pretty unique way. The last 2 off seasons, the 27-year-old was a 3rd grade teacher, and when he was telling me about it, he just had to laugh. He said, put yourself in a room with 30 3rd graders screaming, Mr. V, all at once. Going from elementary school teacher to intense offensive lineman is pretty funny to him. He tells me he actually showed his students a video compilation of his highlights as an O-lineman. Some of the kids didn't even believe it was him because Mr. V is just way too nice, guys.
I don't know, man. Show me that video. If I'm an elementary school student, I'm going to just do whatever the teacher says.
Exactly.
Major Williams, also a substitute teacher in the offseason. Drew Brown, the fake to Oliveira, looks over the middle. Has Pokey Wilson at the 30, inside the 20, before being brought down. Nice throw and catch by the Bombers.
Well, Drew Brown looks like he's still in a little bit of discomfort, but definitely didn't show it with that throw. Perfect timing to Ontario Wilson working towards the middle of the field. Got a look, the run fake to Oliveira holds those linebackers a little bit, which allows Brown to just drop it in behind that second level.
Thibaut Abaye into the game, a defensive tackle in place of Jonah Tavai. Brown had a few problems with the snap, but got it to Oliveira right away for a strong first down gain. Call it 6 yards.
And Bombers finding a little bit of balance in their offense here, mixing things up, keeping the Lions D off kilter.
We've seen Winnipeg down here a few times settle for field goals. They've yet to put it in the end zone. Let's see if they can finish this drive. Brown with the quick pass has Dembski. Dembski has the first down, tackled right away at the 5-yard line. Decisive throw by Drew Brown.
Yeah, once again, kind of changing up his arm angle. Make sure he finds a trajectory that works. Zinging it between defenders to Nick Dembski to move those sticks. Set up the 1st and goal.
Ronald Kent Jr. with the tackle, 1st and goal. BC's got a couple of late substitutes coming into the game. Looks like some confusion from the Lions back end. Oliveira with the handoff, brought down after a gain of a couple.
I had the block by a Winnipeg 10 coming across to be a good block.
As you mentioned, Ben Major, very descriptive.
Yes. You see Nick Dembski in motion across the formation. Brady Oliveira again with the cutback. Jackson Finley moving a little closer to the line of scrimmage here in this BC Lions defensive formation tonight, in on the tackle.
This time the drop back, looking into the end zone to the corner, Tim White, touchdown, Winnipeg! Finally, they finish a drive and take the lead. We've seen a lot of Pokey Wilson tonight, but Tim White's turn on that possession.
And you're going to look at the touch on this football from Drew Brown with Tim White working towards the corner, all the way across the formation. Leads him, just drops it in there perfectly beyond the defender, Finley.
Great protection by that Bomber offensive line to wrap up a 5-play, 55-yard drive in 2:26. The convert is good, and Winnipeg now with a 6-point lead, 16-10 at the end of the 3rd quarter. Drew Brown moving around gingerly, but was well protected there. Able to find Tim White in the end zone behind Jackson Finley. And the Bombers take the lead going into the 4th. BC with just 26 net yards of offense in that 3rd quarter. Winnipeg with 114. But the number that really stands out is that 29 passing yards for the Lions. Dwayne, that's got to change in the 4th quarter.
Well, you would imagine that it will. And the thing to me is, oddly enough, yeah, ideally when you're the BC Lions offensively, you want that number to change. if Caden Salter continues to put up yardage on the ground in big chunks, as long as he's protecting the football, moving the football, putting his team in position to score, you don't necessarily need it to change. It's not like they need points in chunks or in a hurry. You're still talking about a one-possession ball game. But, yeah, in fairness, you'd like a little more production from your passing game.
Yeah, now that you're down 6, and they were down 6 earlier in this game, you'd have to believe they'll try to push the ball a bit. Now, it hasn't been all designed runs for Salter. They have tried to throw. It just hasn't felt right, so he's taken off and gone with it. Most of the time it's been successful. Williams on the return, not much doing there. BC again starts well into their own territory at their 25-yard line. Another long field for Salter to navigate.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of the things, again, complementary football. You mentioned the Lions and their return game, some of their struggles on special teams through the first portion of this season. You'd love it if you could get a little help from your return game in terms of field position, in terms of yardage, to make life a little easier for Caden Salter in the offense.
Horvath begins this drive in the backfield. Another off snap. Salter pulls it, dumps it off to Poisson, spins, and should have the first down.
And Kieran Poisson is a guy who, to me, given an opportunity to play a little bit more in the early part of this season with injuries, particularly to Javon Catoy in that receiving corps, Stanley Berryhill as well, missing from that group, Aiden Eberhard having moved on in free agency. You see a young guy in Poisson had an opportunity to play, and he just seems to get better every day.
Well, and Nathan Rourke absolutely loves Kieran Poisson. You know how much Rourke works, how much extra he throws, and the guy that sticks around to do all that extra work is Kieran Poisson. This time, Salter looking deep. He's got Hatcher, who makes a nice adjustment and makes the catch. Finally, a big completion between Salter and Hatcher down to the 41-yard line of Winnipeg.
Well, you felt a little bit like this was a here we go again when that ball was in the air and you could see Hatcher looking over one shoulder. The ball was coming over the other shoulder. But this one, enough air on the ball, enough time for Hatcher to make an adjustment on the fly, flip his head to the outside shoulder, and haul it in beautifully for a big and much-needed BC Lions game.
BC now in the 41 after that Winnipeg touchdown drive. See how they respond here. This time the handoff to Salter, who's got some room. Salter breaks a tackle before fighting his way close. Sorry, I meant Horvath. We're getting so used to saying Salter's running the ball in this game. Horvath with the carry right there. Comes up just a yard short of the first down. Short yardage unit will come into the game with Horvath likely taking the next snap.
Yeah, watch the offensive line open this one up center and left guard. Getting on their men. Horvath just going north-south with it.
Second and 1, Horvath under center. Bryce deep. Should be enough for the first down. For Chase Bryce right now, it's good work if you can get it. Come out there, hang around behind the running back who takes the snap, does the work.
Well, I was going to say, in this formation, I could make a comeback as a short yardage quarterback. Handful of plays a game.
But would anybody believe
running? Well, I can neither throw nor run at this stage of my life.
Earlier in the season, they went with that kind of look with Nathan Rourke in the backfield. They snapped it between Horvath's legs, and Rourke was able to throw it. You wonder if they have the trust in Bryce to do that at some point later. This time, Horvath behind Salter, takes the handoff, makes the first man miss, cuts back, fights his way for 3, maybe 4 yards, gets to the 26-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd and 6 for the Lions.
Lions trying to create a little misdirection in the backfield there. Sending another back off to the left, handing to Horvath going right. Trying to prevent that backside pursuit.
Salter drops back to pass, has pressure, tries to get away, but it's not there. Jake Serezna gets into the party. And he gets his 6th of the season.
Yeah, Jake Serezna has seen Matthew Betts and Willie Jefferson pull one ahead of him in this game and sets out right here to even the score. Demonstrating his power with the bull rush there. Straight line to the quarterback.
Sean White trying to bring the Lions to within 3. 42-yard attempt. He's hit from 43 earlier tonight. The kick is long enough, and it is good. Sean White makes it a 16-13 game. The Lions close the gap. Buck Pierce has yet to beat the Bombers as a head coach. His team is right there with 10.5 minutes to go here in Winnipeg. Such a balanced receiving core here in Winnipeg this year. Pokey Wilson has been a real find for this team, Dwayne.
Yeah, and I would describe him as a bit of a rediscovery in this Winnipeg offense. A guy who went over 1,000 yards in 2024, limited to just 6 games a year ago, but over 500 on the season already. The Bombers playing their 9th game of the year. But you think about some of the changes to their receiving core with Kenny Lawler leaving in free agency, Dalton Schoen lost to injury. Pokey Wilson has stepped up in a big way.
Oliveira with the carry. Lions defense right there. Limits the gain to about 2 yards. I mentioned the balance in that Bomber receiving core. Coming into this game, all these guys were in the 400-yard range. They'd all had between 32 and 34 catches. We're seeing it again here.
Yeah, and this is exactly how you want it to be. It becomes so difficult to defend when you can't focus all your energy, all your manpower on shutting down one individual. Any one of these guys can kill you. Certainly over the course of their respective careers, guys like Gavin Cobb and Tommy Neal have shown a penchant for the big catch as well.
Lions with some pressure. Brown trying to escape, gets out of there. Doesn't get the first down, but does make for an interesting decision here.
Brown again grabs that lower back after the collision. Made the decision to run into contact there and not to slide on the scramble.
And it's less than a yard, so you've got to think they're going for it here. Bryce Perkins coming into the game. Taylor Elgersma warming up on the side.
A good decision, good run from Drew Brown, and he knows he's close to the first down. He's not going to slide. He's going to try and get there. You see him duck the shoulder and lunge forward. It's just Parker McKenna gets his mitts on him.
Now, if Elgersma comes into the game, we're essentially going to be playing with 2 third stringers.
Yes.
Shows you depth is everything at that position in this league.
Elgersma, already to his credit, has come off the bench and guided the Bombers to a win in Hamilton. Game in which Zach Collaros was initially injured. Both Collaros and Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell going down in that game, setting up the All-Canadian QB matchup.
Perkins on 3rd and 1, plunges ahead, should have a first down. As we look on the sideline, Brown has not gone to the bench. Taylor Elgersma is coming into the game.
Well, Elgersma,
Hey, let's fucking go.
in his first CFL season after being drafted in 2025 by the Bombers. 18th overall pick in last year's draft at Wilfrid Laurier University.
Let's see if they are conservative with him back there with Brady Oliveira, or if they let him do some things. This time he pulls it, rolls, finds Tim White for a completion. Good start for the young man. Gain of 11 and a first down.
Well, one of the things you talk about with quarterbacks all the time, sort of thrust into the spotlight, is the stage going to be too big? And doesn't matter where Taylor Elgersma played his college football, I can guarantee you the way this guy is wired, the stage is not going to be too big. He's not going to be intimidated. He possesses a certain swagger that you want to see from a quarterback in a leadership position.
This time the give to Oliveira. Gets some room, fights his way for a couple of extra. Call it 6 yards on first down.
And you look at Elgersma coming on in this situation and think about the extended play time that he had in Hamilton a few weeks back and how valuable that is early in his career.
Drew Brown had recently been acquired. He wasn't in uniform for that game. They weren't sure whether or not Elgersma was ready for this stage. Let's see what happens to finish this game off. Looks like Matthew Betts looked like he first had to stop, but Oliveira fought forward for a couple of additional yards. I think they're still going to be 2 yards away. Let's see what they do here. Castillo coming on to attempt a field goal. And this is Mike O'Shea by nature, fairly conservative in these situations.
Yes, the fans in Winnipeg, though, apparently still not used to it.
For me, I totally get it in this situation. You got a young quarterback on the other side. Don't make mistakes. Try to put him in position to go get a touchdown. Castillo, the kick is up. The kick is good. Bombers back up by 6. 6 minutes to go. Castillo, never a doubt. You mentioned the stage wasn't too big for Elgersma. I don't think it's too big for Caden Salter here as well. And this is the first time in Lions history they've got first-time starters in back-to-back weeks at the quarterback position.
Yeah, fairly remarkable that, given the history of the franchise, the history of the league, that it has never happened before. But injury to Nathan Rourke has necessitated this.
Salter tries to step up and slide. He's got some room on the left side. Turns the corner, gets the first down at about midfield. Stepped out at the 51, but still good enough for a first down.
Yeah, Salter does a nice job here, kind of recognizes that he's got enough room to the outside to make that play. You know, and some people may be looking and thinking, oh, well, quarterback, he's only looking at one read and then he's taken off with the football. This is a kid straight out of college making his first start. From my perspective, he's making good decisions, not trying to force the ball when he can make a positive play with his legs.
Winnipeg shows blitz, the handoff to Horvath. He breaks free, crosses the 40, picks up one block, breaks another tackle inside the 25-yard line. Xander Horvath gets BC deep into Winnipeg territory.
Love seeing Xander Horvath get out in the open field, because I think this big-bodied runner, not just in terms of his girth at 230 pounds, but his height as well, not typical of a running back. He's throwing people out of the way.
Yeah, Evan Holm won't like that highlight. A 34-yard gain for number 34. BC knocking on the door. Caden Salter has his team in position here. Looks deep at the receiver. Touchdown, BC. Jermaine Jackson.
And cue the duel of the young guns here down the stretch. Caden Salter, you wanted more passing yards? How's that?
May have doubled his entire night's work on that one throw.
He has stepped up here in the fourth quarter, doing what needed to be done, throwing a strike here to Jackson to pull the Lions even.
He had some separation, needed all of it before Dietrich Nichols got there. BC
Really
also
like
has
that.
an injured offensive lineman on play.
Really like that. JJ. Like that. Way to go, Lo. Let's go, bro. Good shit. Hey.
Jackson actually suffered an injury last week. There was some doubt as to whether he'd play this week. Lions are sure happy he did.
You see Jackson, the middle receiver in this three-man set. Little stem to the outside. Nichols overcommitted and found himself scrambling, trying to recover on the play.
Three-play drive, 70 yards in a minute 24. Jackson cut at the end of the preseason. Brought back because of all the early season receiver injuries for BC. And it's going to be tough to take him out of the lineup next week when Stanley Berryhill is ready to return. Both he and Javon Couture are due back.
Yeah, Jackson stepping up, making some big plays.
But hey, we doing hella shit.
Just remember, it's a family show.
BC Lions having a little bit of fun.
Sean White on to attempt the extra point, and the BC Lions have a 1-point lead with 4 minutes and 38 seconds left to go in this game. Jermaine Jackson with the biggest touchdown of his young career. Is it enough? We'll find out.
Welcome back as the BC Lions just took the lead by 1 point, and I have a few injury updates on both sides, starting with the Lions. Tyson Russell will be out the remainder of the game. He has an ankle injury. And then Jonah Tavai as well, who left the game earlier. He's out with a calf injury, will not return. Now on the Winnipeg side, obviously we saw Drew Brown go down after running the ball. When he walked off to the sidelines, he was holding the left side of his lower back. He didn't go into the white tent to get checked on. He's been talking to the trainers. He's also thrown 3 or 4 footballs and immediately looked like he was in some discomfort after that. So he's still on the sidelines watching over what's happening, but no update further than that, guys.
Thank you very much. Big hit on Trey Vauvel. We'll have to see which Lion made it. Looked like Riley Pickett and Parker McKenna in the area. Taylor Elgersma coming in. When you look at Brown, he hasn't been doing anything with trainers. Deontay Williams lowers the boom there.
That is not the first time we've seen that from Deontay Williams. We see Taylor Elgersma back at the helm.
Yeah, we went over to you, Caden, and now it's over to you, Taylor, right now.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot this season in the early portion about the quarterback play, the veteran quarterback's level of experience and associated level of proficiency. We're getting some exciting moments from some of the young guys as well, and kind of curious, as I think a lot of fans probably are, to see the next wave of CFL quarterbacks and where they're at. So great opportunity here. We've seen some terrific flashes from first-year man Caden Salter. And now on to fellow rookie Taylor Elgersma.
And you've seen Taylor play as much as anybody. And, okay, he's not going to run. He's not going to wow you with his legs. However, in terms of arm talent, yeah, he is a professional quarterback.
Yeah, he's for real. This isn't a novelty act. Taylor Elgersma legitimately won the number 2 job here in Winnipeg out of camp. Bombers had an opportunity to make a good deal and get a veteran guy in Drew Brown who knew the team, knew the system, knew the coaches, etc. Was a perfect fit as a veteran guy to come in and insulate them, bearing in mind that Taylor Elgersma is a true rookie, but a young man who appears to have a bright future here in the CFL.
This time he pulls it and he's going down. The sack right there, Deontay Williams was not fooled.
And Mike Benavides turning up the heat right away here on Taylor Elgersma. Watch for Deontay Williams coming from the left side of your screen, I believe here. The defensive left, right side of your screen. Unblocked man. Williams, a halfback by trade, but a guy who has played in the box a little bit in his career.
Second and very long. He checks it down and almost intercepted after going off the fingertips of Nick Dembski. Dodged a bullet there, but a 2-and-out for Winnipeg as the ball's getting kicked back to BC.
We have a timeout for Winnipeg. Timeout, Winnipeg.
A second and extra long situation. You can see from the alignment defensively before that ball was snapped. BC just set up with their 4 defensive linemen at the LOS, and everyone else just backed off to the first down marker.
Winnipeg trying to improve on their 1-3 home record this season. Going to reload here. We didn't get the explanation from Ben Major. Sheehan with the punt. Williams takes it at his own 34. Has a crease before being tackled at about the 45-yard line where BC will take over. And Andrew Woodruff is coming back into the game. We saw him injured on that last BC possession, so good news for the Lions offense here with their starting left tackle available.
Yeah, BC Lions offense, and once again had 2 changes to their starting O-line this week due to injury. Could ill afford to lose their starting left tackle, Corey Woodruff.
Did I call him Andrew? That's a throwback right there. If I said that.
Yeah,
to Montreal Alouettes. Yeah. He was a Victoria guy. I'm always partial to the BC guys. where they reside. Horvath with the carry, cuts inside. Pushes behind that offensive line. Gets a gain of 6, maybe 7. Yeah. And that's the 3-minute whistle. The BC Lions, when we come back, will have a 2nd and 4 as they try to close out this game with a 1-point lead. Can BC pull off a huge upset in Winnipeg? We've got 3 minutes to find out. Dwayne, we haven't seen the big-time offensive numbers from the quarterbacks. No one in range of 300 yards passing, but we have seen 5 lead changes, and with 1 point separating these teams, it's been a pretty entertaining game.
Yeah, it certainly has. I think both teams have sort of found different ways to make some big plays without an aerial show.
The handoff to Xander Horvath. He is in the clear to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Xander Horvath will score. BC up 7 with 2:46 to go. Wow.
Xander Horvath. We've seen him do this before. Big back, completely catches people off guard with that straight line speed in the open field. You watch Horvath here when he sees a little bit of daylight. Lions 7 men on the line of scrimmage, double tight end formation. And you get Xander Horvath running downhill, sees a little bit of daylight. Good luck.
Very good block by Corey Woodruff on the play.
Yes.
Glad he's back in from the Lions' perspective, given what they've been dealing with offensive line-wise. But right here, BC's got a chance to go up 8, but it looks like they're going for 2 to try to go up 2 scores. What do you think of this decision? I like it.
Yeah, same. Put yourself, be aggressive here. Put yourself in a position, well, put a little pressure on your opponent.
With a young quarterback on the other side, you then force him to throw the football.
Yeah.
Now, I expected Caden Salter to pull the ball on the last play. Does he do it here? The quick flip, Keon Hatcher, and they make the 2-point convert to Caden Salter. Wow!
He didn't need to pull it. You are rewarded for creativity in the Canadian Football League. Love the play call from the BC Lions.
BC goes up 2 scores. Let's take a look. Here's Horvath with the flip.
And Keon Hatcher, you need the lefty. Need the lefty to make the throw going left, and Hatch is that guy. Once again, a look at the touchdown run. One stutter step, and then he is just a boulder rolling downhill. Touchdown, Xander Horvath to put the Lions in the lead.
Now, on the 2-point convert, I actually thought Hatcher could have just run it in.
Yes.
But you practice that play so much, you want to throw it, don't you?
I think you do. When you're Keon Hatcher, you never know when you're going to have the chance to throw the ball in a game again. Not a touchdown pass, but a 2-point convert.
This just feels like a Buck Pierce offense when he had Chris Streveler. And he was comfortable trying to be creative in terms of how to generate offense.
Some plays.
I'm sure Streveler watching tonight. Certainly a fan favorite here, and I'm surprised at the number of fans that have left, which happened before the 2-point convert. The Bombers look to avoid dropping to 1-4 in this building this season. This time, Bobble runs into the back of a couple of lines, bursts out before Deontay Williams makes the tackle. About the 38-yard line, but good field position for Taylor Elgersma and the Winnipeg offense.
And again, with the 2-point convert by the BC Lions, Winnipeg is going to need to get 2 possessions in this final 2:38.
BC has lost 3 straight games without Nathan Rourke at quarterback.
Well, it's not just about executing the offense here from a Winnipeg point of view for Taylor Elgersma, but time management critical.
Elgersma drops back to pass, there's pressure. The ball comes out, it's fumbled. Let's see who's got it. Looks like Winnipeg may have gotten back on top. Nathan Cherry pulled it out of there.
Well, Nathan Cherry seeing a few more snaps on defense with the injury to Jonah Tavai.
Looks like Vanterpool with the recovery. Hayden Harris almost had it. Second and very long. This time Elgersma. This time the ball slips out again. Elgersma looking for it. Looks like BC's got it. Will they rule it a forward pass or a fumble? But the Lions currently have possession.
Yeah, interpretation here is going to be key. I thought it slipped on the throw.
Woodley Apollon with the recovery.
We'll get another look at it here. Elgersma.
Yeah, he's trying to tuck it back in.
Yeah, he tried to pull that one back.
They'll automatically review every turnover, so no one needs to challenge this. You can see him trying to hold the arm and pull it back.
Yeah, second guessed where he was going with that football.
CFL version of the Tuck rule right here.
The previous play is under automatic review by the replay center.
You see, he doesn't follow through.
He's clearly trying to pull it back there. So it's either BC possession with 2:18 to play, or it would be 3rd and 15 for Winnipeg.
After automatic review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. It's a fumble recovered by BC, first down.
That could do it with a 2-score lead and the ball at the 35-yard line. BC takes possession, up 28-19.
And now the Lions turn to try and slow things down, grind it out a little bit. They've found their own success running the football here in the second half. Xander Horvath with a couple of biggies for them. But it'll be probably the two-headed monster of Horvath, and then the threat of Salter pulling the football will probably be the dynamics down the stretch here.
Horvath trying to turn the corner. He does. Inside the 20, cuts back. Xander Horvath will score again. A 35-yard touchdown run for Xander Horvath. He's up to 176 rushing yards tonight, and the Lions extend their lead.
And I think you had a Winnipeg team that was very focused on trying to get Horvath out of bounds rather than just making a play on the ball carrier. Michael Griffin, by the way, the first man in pursuit, looked like he may have tweaked a knee there. He was the first guy that had a shot and just got injured as he reached for the ball carrier.
And then Kelly gets beat on the cutback. But who would have thought this? 34-19 with the convert pending.
Well, then much said about the change at quarterback for BC, but also a change at running back this week, seeing a bigger role for Xander Horvath, and look at how he's delivered.
James Butler out with a foot injury, so that elevated Horvath into the starter's role. Imani Bailey coming in and offered a bit of a change-up at the tailback position. And the Lions next week will be getting healthy. Nathan Rourke, in all indications are he'll play next week. Jovan Catoy should be back. Stanley Berryhill should be available. And the defense right now is playing lights out. Sean White, the kick is good, and BC up 16 points with 2:09 to go.
Let's talk about the job that this young man, Caden Salter, rookie, straight out of college, making his first career professional start. Never seemed daunted for a moment in this ball game. I think he's made terrific decisions, has protected the football, made a couple of terrific throws, had some outstanding runs to keep drives going. And oh yeah, caught a two-point convert along the way as well. But a terrific first start of his CFL career for Caden Salter.
Horvath's 176 yards puts him 3 yards away from Justin Rankin's 179 for the biggest rush game of the season. On a night that saw Brady Oliveira dominate the first quarter, Xander Horvath has dominated this game.
That's been the Xander Horvath show here, particularly in the second half. Imposing his will.
Bobble takes it at his own 15-yard line. Gets to the 30, across the 35, before being forced out of bounds at the 44-yard line. 2:02 left for the Bombers as they're down 2 scores still. Still a 16-point game.
I don't want to sound like a hitter. I was on the sideline, there was no one there.
2 touchdowns, 2 two-point converts required at this point.
Obviously the need for some aggressiveness offensively for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We'll no doubt see the response from BC going 4-man rush. They'll have Matthew Betts and the rest will have their ears pinned back here.
Brady Oliveira with the carry. Gets close to 10 yards. Pokey Wilson gets up wrestling. Can't see the Lions player yet. I'm going to give myself credit just for being able to decipher these white numbers in my first play-by-play game of the season.
I will say, when I came up to the booth and saw the Lions with the silver on white,
you felt for me.
I was, yeah, that's makes for a rough debut, but yes, you get a pat on the back. You've nailed it.
Pacific Frost, we like to call it on the West Coast.
Quick game!
quick in and out of the hands of Pokey Wilson. Can't complain about the throw, right on the numbers.
Parker McKenna, the weak side linebacker, spanning out there to make a play on the receiver.
BC will try to give them that throw and tackle everything short. 2nd and 10, 1:38 to go here. Valuable reps being gained by Elgersma right now. Elgersma steps up into the pocket. Looks like he's going to take off with it before being brought down. Betson Sankey in on the tackle. McKenna also not far away. Some extracurriculars. A flag just came out.
Yeah, CJ Colden and Ontario Wilson have been into it the last couple of plays. Colden that time pulling Wilson's helmet off and throwing it away. It's going to earn him a flag. So both guys had a hold of each other by the face masks.
All of us together, right? I'm good, Coach.
Hey, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you is. Yes, sir.
Always get the second guy.
You've been whooping their ass all day. Hey, yeah, you've been whooping their ass all day. You know what they are. You cool. You've been whooping his ass all day.
There's 2 misconduct penalties after the play. BC number 3, Winnipeg number 80. It's going to be 3rd down for Winnipeg.
Hey, we'll be ready.
No harm done there. Elgersma on 3rd and 4. Checks it down Oliveira, and that falls incomplete. And the BC Lions will pull off a massive upset with their 3rd string quarterback, Caden Salter, with 1:24 to go here.
Yeah, Oliveira unable to handle that one. And the Lions taking next man up to a whole new level here tonight.
Taylor Elgersma right on the money on that throw. Certainly was earlier when he threw to Pokey Wilson that got dropped on the slant pattern earlier in the series. But a tough ask. Down 2 scores. Xander Horvath, that should do it. The highest rushing total of the season. Horvath with 11, maybe 12 yards on that carry. That'll put him close to 190 yards. 188 to be exact. This is what we're used to seeing from Winnipeg, running out these types of games with Brady Oliveira. And for Buck Pierce, the former Winnipeg offensive coordinator, who still makes his home in Winnipeg in the offseason, all his family's here to watch. This will be his first win as the head coach against his former team. Horvath again gets 2 yards, maybe 3. This one gets the weekend underway. Week 9 continues with Friday Night Football. The Owls make the short trip to Ottawa. Coverage begins with the pregame show, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on TSN. Davis Alexander authoring a fantastic season for Montreal, going up against a team desperately seeking their first win.
Yeah, the Ottawa Red Blacks showing flashes. They would love to get that one against a division rival.
This time Salter pulls it. He's got room. Let's see if he goes for the end zone or if he slides out of bounds. He takes a knee at around the 16-yard line with 26 seconds left to play.
And awareness to stay in bounds. Don't give Winnipeg any help with the clock. Yeah, it's been a lot of Xander Horvath doing the damage here in the second half. And Salter had a number of great runs earlier in the ball game. It kind of lulled them to sleep. They had forgotten about him a little bit.
The Lions with 377 rushing yards in this game. 377. If you're Winnipeg and you gave up 52 points last game at home, and now this kind of rushing total at home, Mike O'Shea won't be happy.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration there for the former middle linebacker.
And it's a final. Caden Salter and the BC Lions defeat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 35-19. They snap a two-game losing streak without Nathan Rourke. Rourke is expected to be back next week. And the Lions, if they would have lost tonight and fallen to 1-6, the climb back would have been astronomical.
Yeah, a rather massive win, both in fashion and in significance for the BC Lions here. Two teams that we could say needed it. The Lions on the road are the ones that come up with the big win on the strength of a terrific performance from rookie quarterback Caden Salter and running back Xander Horvath.
Winnipeg follows this game with a bye. They will have a lot to think about between now and then. Two injured quarterbacks now. The BC Lions will get healthy next week. They're going to play Hamilton on Saturday night at BC Place with a lot of momentum and buzz following this improbable victory. SportsCenter is next with Jen Hedger and Matt Scooby.